Anthony. Others that are coming online. Massive gunfire in Idaho, as the previous commenter let us know. What is going on? Welcome to the News Desk. Good evening, Mr. Beverly Bob. What a blessing to have you in our presence. Good to be here. Sunday Night Raw. Yes, we only had one service today. We had a dinner, and we didn't have a service tonight. And so I went on a little, well, I didn't go on earlier, but I was doing a lot of work to get ready to go on, and have enjoyed myself with the previous show. You are, yes, Anthony. I hope this regime change our government's doing iron works, because the last few didn't seem to succeed. It just further, yeah, it destabilized for sure. And yes, it is a regime change, even though we're telling Israel no. That's absolutely what they want to do. I remember those days. I'm old enough to remember the change, from the Shah of Iran. Back when Iran was a nice tourist place to visit. You don't want to do that now. You might get strung up. Rough place, especially for females. But yes, I do hope that. Sometimes the enemy you know is better than the enemy you get. Sad but true, as Metallica sung about. Miss Beverly, I hope you're well. Hope you've had a great Sunday. Prayers out to those officers, firefighters, especially those families that have suffered loss in Idaho. Ongoing situation. No idea who's doing this. Still ongoing battles, gun battles. Idaho, of all places. What in the world is going on? Brings back thoughts to us, right? Ruby Ridge, we talked about that in the last program. What in the world is going on? Prayers to them. They're trying to get resources in the area. A burst of gunfire, they say. Anthony says, I say, well, I'm old enough to remember the Gorbachev and Putin. And what was the old vodka drinking? They all drink it, but what was the other one's name? Was there for a bit. Drank the vodka. What was his? God, it's on the tip of my tongue. I tell you, I can't remember nothing tonight. I didn't sleep great last night. My granddaughter kept waking me up. Like she's energized. She wakes me up. I'm like, go to bed. And my brain is just a fog tonight. But, I can't remember his name. Anyway, yes, I just turned 60 years old. And I'm proud of it, by gosh. I'm proud of it. Thank the Lord for giving me 60 years on this earth. There were times in my lunacy of living, when I thought I could do anything, that I came close a couple of times to not being here. I'm thankful for the Lord looking over big dummies, and I be one sometimes. Yes. I have talked about it often. My earliest memories of politics, war, was obviously Vietnam. The step down of Richard Nixon, climbing the stairs. I watched that live. I cried. I was 7 or 8 years old. I think I was 8 when that happened. I couldn't believe it. I remember lots of things that jump out in my mind. The Munich killing of the Jewish athletes. Patty Hearst, another big memory. The attempted shooting of Gerald R. Ford. These are a lot of things that stood out in my mind. The fall of Saigon. really got into the election, and I talked about this recently, the election of Jimmy Carter, George Mellencamp, he says. But unbelievable scenes from Idaho, not Ohio. Sorry, Ohio, Idaho. They're trying to neutralize the ongoing threat. They're taking fire. 2 are dead, and nobody knows who these Yokos are and how many of them there are. People are in shock on the mountain. They say, trying to get off the mountain. What a crazy story. We may see more of them. AOC, she's in the news. She's trying to say she's still a Bronx girl, even though she was raised in the suburbs. Ain't it tough when the supposed street savvy think that they didn't really have the upbringing, and they thought, what was the guy, the white kid who wanted to be the rapper, who claimed he was like all that? He was the rich kid, had that bad song. What was that dude's name? I cannot think of names for that. Y'all have to help me. And I appreciate the interaction. The guy I just mentioned was between Stalin and Gorbachev. So I don't really remember him very much. I remember Gorbachev very well. Yes, Vanilla Ice, baby. Dude was straight, like he tried to act like he's straight out of Compton or something. I know, different coast, but you know my meaning. Dude, straight up upper middle class suburban. Some things you just have to have a little more street sense on. AOC, you busted. She comes from a very nice area, but she says I'm still Bronx, and I speak for the people. Miss Beverly, very nice thing said from Carl last night to you, and very congratulations. He said he was going to send you the gift. I didn't know you had been a follower that long. I tell you what, that's an awesome thing to have as a person who has been. I've podcasted years ago, but it was all for ministry, and I didn't really build. I just put it out there. I did radio station. I did internet. I didn't really build a list of people that really, it was just, they were out there and I'm sure they remember me, but I didn't really have that. But in doing this, you definitely appreciate those people come in and just say hello. If that's all they say, it means a lot. It means they're, sometimes it's just numbers on a screen. It's like, hello. Is anybody there? There. I see you, but you don't talk. It's nice to have somebody just say, good evening. For me, he says, I've lived through the presidencies of Clinton, yes. Both Bush administrations, me too. Both Obama, yes. The Biden and both of Trump, yes, me. But I've also lived through Reagan, both. Jimmy Carter. Good evening, Miss Elizabeth. How are you doing? Ford. Nixon. That's as early as I can remember. Nixon. I would absolutely love to have memories from Dwight D. Eisenhower's administration. Yes, Miss Beverly, I do too. You're awesome. And you always have nice things to say. And thanks for your concern for people behind the scenes. And you know what I mean. Miss Elizabeth says she's good. Does that mean you're being good or you're just good? But I go back to Nixon. I absolutely go back to Nixon. Yes. Mostly. But let me tell you about Carter. Carter did so. Oh, she's doing both. Excellent. You're being good and you're good. Excellent. I hope you've had a great week since we talked to you on Monday, what Mama said. Uh, Carter was a enigma in lots of ways. I absolutely support his work with Habitat for Humanity. I respect a guy that teaches Sunday school in his church, even if it was a little different than me. Still did that his whole life and up until later years when he couldn't. Um, Absolutely horrible at foreign diplomacy. I'll say it. You failed, brother. Absolutely failed the hostages. Ronald Reagan did that. He liked to claim that they let him out for him. No, they didn't. Oh, Miss Elizabeth says I'm on I-75, sitting in traffic, heading back to North Georgia. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you got to be out. You got like a day left or something. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Are you done down there? Are you out? Do you get to stay out? But he was horrible at foreign diplomacy. His energy policies did not work, obviously. I remember my dad sitting in the long lines for gas rationing, gas high prices. I was so excited because he was from Georgia. His brother was a loon and a drunk. Sorry. Um, Billy Beer. In the end, I was so ready for him to go. I can't even express just how much I was ready for that guy to get off the stage. Almost to the level of Biden. Not that much, but pretty bad. Oh, nope. The person can't move in now till August 1st. So you're staying down there for a bit? Or it just gives you more time to get stuff out? I'll tell you what, though. If you need help, let me know. Beverly Ball says, I remember all the tractors from my hometown heading to D.C. during Carter. Yes. Yeah. More time to get everything out. Well, good for you. You sound like you needed a little more time. But yeah, I would agree that bad in one way is good in others. But what I was going to say about that was he really frustrated me. And listen, I get it. When they were going to have elections in Israel, he always stood with the Palestinians. And he tried to act like the Israelis would. If you're going to be fair, brother, just make it fair. You know, sometimes I thought for a guy that usually didn't do it very well on that stage, he kept going that way. I just think he was better domestically, being being ambassador for good things here in America. That's what he was best at. He did not like the Obamas at all. I tell you that. Watch any stage presentation when they're standing together. He won't stand next to Obama. He stands with a space, or he stood with a space. She said, I did move just about everything up in U-Haul Friday. I know you got me tired. There was a person who likes to talk about history. Do you think if Robert Fitzgerald Kennedy survived, he would have been better president than his brother? That's a pretty deep question. I'm going to say no. No. In fact, I would have think it would have been a step down. I could be wrong. My opinion. He was. I mean, it's the same cloth, but I don't think he had for JFK's faults, and he had some. He stood very tall at times, and probably paid for it. We don't know the true story there, but probably paid for it with his life. I just don't think he would have been better. I don't think he could have stood as tall at those moments. Why I think that, I'm not sure. I just don't think he could have. And certainly Ted Kennedy would have been a disaster. Thank goodness we never made the mistake of electing him. I'm glad nothing ever bad happened to him, even though he caused bad things to happen at Chappaquiddick. And I'll leave that rest right where it's at. But I just don't think it would have been. Now, some people think because of the legal stuff and Attorney General and all that, maybe. I just don't think so. Some people just come along for a time, and well, he certainly paid with his life. Paid with his life because mom helped his brother get elected. Like I said, there was a lot of ugliness, and in that way, but see, who knows what would have happened? That's one of those. I enjoyed having a conversation, but it's a definitely. I don't know how far you can take that when because we don't know what would have happened. I mean, he might have rode herd on him, so in that way maybe he would have been, but I don't think he would have been all that. My opinion. My opinion. The unfortunate part is, of course, it would have been later on, is we got stuck with Lyndon Johnson, an absolute horrible person. And even though he instituted a lot of federal things that today a lot of people take for granted, he was horrible. Horrible. Where was I when it broke? I was at home in North Georgia watching the news with my dad. And I was trying to remember, here I am. I'm just a little kid. I watched the news with my dad. And I'm like, they broke into a hotel. What? I mean, at that moment, I didn't see the connections all the way back to the president. And I didn't know the ins and outs of it. I mean, I knew they broke the law, but I didn't. I want to say Cronkite, but I don't remember for sure. I want to say it was Cronkite. We watched that news channel every night in our home. My dad would always watch the local and national news. And we only had one TV, except one black and white I could watch Sesame Street. That was the TV. So my dad controlled the remote when he was at home. I was the remote. Hey, boy, change the channel. Dukes of Hazzard's on. I was the remote and the antenna guy. Hear my dad, you went too far. It was before cable. We didn't have walkie-talkies and all that. Man, they were doing that before I was landing on the moon. You talking about was I getting out of school for the day when it happened? I don't remember. I really don't remember that. I thought all that stuff was cool, and I did watch that, a lot of stuff with my dad, but I was very much an outdoors kid. And so, and really all the TV was really a nighttime thing. So I probably, might have missed some stuff because they had to threaten to beat me to get me in the house. I was a good kid, but we all wanted to play. We played till they made us come in. We'd wait for the call. All of us boys, we would play until they made the call. I don't remember the time of day. I just remember seeing the images and thought it was very cool. Were both explosions of those spacecraft. Do you mean the Challenger? If you do mean the Challenger, I absolutely remember that day. I was with my girlfriend who became my wife, and we had stopped by her house to get something. And my girlfriend walked into her mom's bathroom, and I just came in the room and just sit on the edge of the bed because there was a TV there. And I said, hey, it's time for the Challenger to lift off. This is a big deal. So I turned it on, and I'm sitting there watching it. I just figured, 5 minutes or so, we'll be ready to go. We were headed somewhere. And I went, I can't believe that just happened. And the girlfriend's hollering at me, what happened? And I'm telling her, it blew up. It blew up. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. The other one, you mean Columbia? I think I might have been at work. I can't remember. But I definitely remember it. And I remember two things about that. One is the Israeli pilot who led the raid on Iraq's nuclear program, obliterated it, and the fact that it crashed out in Palestine, Texas, and all the Palestinians were jumping up and down in celebration, saying it was a sign from God. Come on. It's Palestine, it's not Palestine. And anyway, they saw that and said, death to America. I don't know. Heck with them. I remember that. I was like, come on, man. People just burned up and died. They were happy a Jew died. They were happy. Just facts. I mean, even the news back then reported that. They didn't cover up as much back then. I think you're about right because I'm trying to remember the day. 86 was Challenger. Elizabeth said she was homesick and watched the Challenger blow up. Well, thank God you wasn't in school with all the kids watching it too. I mean, all those school kids. And wasn't it you, Miss Elizabeth, that told me you met the teacher on a trip? Wasn't that you that told me that? I absolutely remember that day massively. I mean, the news just flipped. It was one of those, horrible things. Oh my God. And you remember all the kids looking up, that's on the launch site and they're looking up and they don't really know what's going on. The adults are not really wanting to say. And imagine all the kids in the schoolhouses are watching this thing. They're like, when do you turn it off? They already seen what happened. Whole schools were watching that thing. Every kid in school was watching it. Taking the live feed, at some point you got to turn it off. Especially elementary school. But at that point you got some kids upset. That was promoted, the school teacher. And it was used as educational moment. And they should have never launched. We know from the investigation, I have friends that were engineers that were living there at the time. They weren't connected to it, but they were engineers. And they've told me they knew better. They said it was somebody signed off on it, but the engineers knew if they launched in that weather condition, bad things were going to happen, and they went for it anyway. Worst experience I ever had when it came to school was in the middle of my 8th grade year when the Twin Towers fell. Oh, yeah. My God. I was at work that day. I remember calling my dad at work and telling him. I was in shock. I remember my girlfriend coming back into the room, and she's like, I don't remember the exact words, but I know she said something about, what do you mean it blew up? I said, just blow it up. She goes, are they okay? And I'm like, no. They were trying to be very fair on the audio, and I get it, talking about rescues and all that. And I'm like, they're dead. They're not coming back from that. Now, I didn't know at the time that it actually, went at 200 miles an hour into the ocean, and some of them probably were alive. Maybe all of them or most of them when they hit the water. Horrible thing. The Mach they were in probably made them pass out. I would hope. That thing was moving. And of course, everything that's happening with it. My God. That's one of those that's like, you got the world is always watching, but never on this level where you promoted that. You got to make sure anytime that you're sending people up to do any of this stuff, you take every precaution. They allowed themselves to be pushed. They didn't want to lose the story. They didn't want to lose the news. And they knew better. They knew better. They knew what was bad. Let's see here. I was watching a video breaking down the explosion at Columbia. And former astronaut engineer were breaking down, so there was serious malfunction on one of the rocket boosters. Well, and they knew that they were doomed. They didn't have a way to get them home, so they just brought them home and burned them up. I mean, they knew they would. They rolled the dice. Like, well, they didn't tell them that. I think probably some of the people on board knew they were in trouble, but there was no way to get them home to rescue them. So, you brought them on back in. They pretty much knew what was going to happen. Yeah, they knew. They knew. Um, I mean, engineers know. People watching go, "What's that?" They know what that means. The chain reaction as things are starting to explode. They knew what that meant, but they knew they were never supposed to launch too. They knew it. My friend, and I don't know if he's ever watched us. I love to have him on. He's a wealth of information. He walked out of his house and was walking to his car when he watched it go off, and he said his exact words. Well, the bees did it. I won't say the word. That was his, because he'd already been talking to all these engineers that said we can't launch. They recommended and they got shouted down. The engineers told them you can't do it. You can't launch. They knew it was death. So he's sitting there watching it go up, and he's like, "They did it." And then boom, he was watching right from his driveway. Unbelievable. I don't think anybody knew the explosion was going to be that bad. They were hopeful and realized it. Well, I can tell you from what I know, that from people that I can only go by what they say, there were people that told them if you launch, they'll die. And they were shouted down. That they were being exaggerating. I wasn't there. I don't know. But there were some. And there were some people put on them that tried, to be a voice of reason on that. They got shouted down. Destroyed them. Destroyed their career. Destroyed them. That's a story you should go watch. I don't remember that guy's name. The lead, I think he was the lead engineer or whatever. Oh, I think he was engineer. Anyway, they rode herd on him, man. It all became his fault. But he was the guy that was trying to warn them. And certainly there were probably some that didn't know to that length, but they knew it was a bad deal. They knew it was bad. It failed test after test. They were not successful in testing of that. They said you can't launch in this degree. You can't do it. And they did anyway. I guess they were hoping against hope. I don't know. I mean, it's like the Titanic. Full steam ahead. Don't you slow down for nothing. We're running late. We got to get to New York. I'm one of those guys, if Miss Elizabeth says personally, I don't think people should be in space to begin with. Fair enough. Fair enough. It's a massive amount of money. A massive amount of money. The only good thing today is there's a lot of private money in it. It's still costing us taxpayers though, because our tax dollars are used to buy the payloads and stuff that they're shipping up, putting up in space and stuff. So we're still paying for it to a degree, but there's more private money in it. Well, Miss Elizabeth, some people, they believe they never went to space. It was all a fake. I don't believe that, but they've went up, they've came back down. It's not all done in a soundstage. It's okay, man. Bring it. It's still news. The Marlins swept two other teams in the National League West back to back with the Diamondbacks and Giants. They won their seventh straight game. Yes, then the Braves have played better as well. Grand slam by the catcher. Grand slam. So they may be bad, but they're not going without a fight. So I like that. No, it's okay. It's all news. I'm talking news tonight. And for those that don't know, there's a massive shooting going on in Idaho. Prayers to them. I hope they find these people. 2 firefighters deceased already. And it's still an ongoing investigation and shooting. They're still being shot at. And they don't know who these people are. They don't know what they're dealing with. The latest news that I have. Now, if something happened in the last few minutes, I don't know it because I haven't been looking at the news. But they say they're taking active sniper fire. So somebody's going to go down in flames, and they're taking as many of them as they can. So, crazy. Multiple firefighters were ambushed. What a sick world we live in. We look forward to you being on tomorrow night with us, Mama said, Miss Elizabeth. I don't know the topic yet. I know what it won't be. We ain't talking about feet. That really was not meant to be a topic. We just had fun with it. So, I was really just pushing Rob, getting fired up, and it worked. We had some fun. I don't think sometimes if he knows if I'm being serious or cutting up. I won't. I have a firm belief that never let the truth get in the way of a good story. You know, the fishing story. I don't care if they say it's this big. When it was this big, doesn't bother me. It's still a great story. So have fun with a story and exaggerate a little bit is always fun. I do that with Zelensky all the time. He's a fun person to just talk about. Doesn't involve one of these anti-government groups that seem to be based on. But how do you know that? All I'm asking is, how do you know? Because up to now, what I've read is they don't know who's doing it. I mean, it may just be some angry guy about his ex-wife. I don't know. Who knows? There's a lot of nuts out there. But why do you attack the firefighters? I mean, we've had people kill people and burn the house down and then shoot the first responders coming in. I mean, that's happened. So, I mean, that area you tend to think a little bit, militia or something. Based on the reporting that you've seen, they said it involves one of these. Oh, they said that. Miss Elizabeth says, just got off the side. I follow Sheriff is saying could be up to 4 shooters, and there's speculation it could be Decker, the former ranger, accused of killing his young girls and disappearing in Washington. Oh my God! Wow! That's horrible. 4 shooters. But why would they join him? That's weird. I mean, who would be the 3 with him? I mean, he's a nut and a killer. But why 3 other shooters? I'm just curious. I don't know. That's horrible. And it would be 6:37, I guess. They're on that. They're far enough over. That's 3 hours behind us, right? That's horrible. Can you imagine just trying to do your dang job? I mean, think about that. You're just doing your dang job. You're picking up trash. You're putting out a fire. You're serving you're having to go out, tell somebody they got to appear in court, jury duty, and you're just doing your dang job. And some nut, some evil monster opens up and takes your life. You're just doing your dang job. You're a fireman. You put out fires. You don't think about having to have a guy with an AK ready to take on attackers. You're just doing your dang job. What a sick world. My God. I mean, that's where we're at. We were at church earlier and we were talking about all the people that several were talking about how that's why they go armed everywhere they go. It's just nuts. Crime off the scale. I mean, you're just doing your dang job. That's crazy. It's like the people at the school that the freak kid shot up. Teachers and kids, they just going to school, just studying, teaching, Columbine, all the others. Just try to do your dang job. Just try to stay in your lane. Just try to do what you're supposed to do. That's horrible. Or you're a convenience clerk. You're just trying to do your dang job. Some evil gangbanger comes in or whatever, and at the very worst, or at least they rob you. At the worst, they kill you. You just try to do your dang job. Horrible. We don't think about that when we go to work. I mean, like a police officer, I get it. Fireman, you think about explosives. What's the chemical burn? Is it safe to go in here? Is there a rescue here going on? You don't think about somebody opening fire on you. It's a really crazy world that we live in. And you got these people, and there was a story today about some nut that killed his kid with a bow, like a three month old, or I think it's 3 months. I don't think it's 3 years. I think a 3 month old. Let's just have a quick trial for this guy if he's still living. Um, you know, we just don't need people like that walking the streets among us. Paul Simon forced to cancel his concerts, struggling with intense back pain. And if people don't know how bad that can get, it can cripple you up. He's got to have some surgery. He's 83 years old. Imagine that. Simon and Garfunkel. Some great music together. Not my favorites, but I like some of the things they did. I've been watching a lot of little shorts about musical artists, different people. Some of them have had to step back from touring, just can't do it no more. And of course, passing. Mick Ralph's Bad Company. Shout out to him, his family. Pray for them. The guy that did not had an intense fear of flying. That's why he didn't tour more than he did. He hated flying. I don't like it. I wouldn't say I have an intense fear. I'll go do it if I have to. It's not something I'm looking forward to. I don't really, I just try to think, I just try to get on there and get to where I'm going and be glad I'm back on the ground. I don't like to think about what can go wrong while I'm in the air. I try to keep my mind. I haven't flown in a long time. I'm not a huge fan of it because I don't like heights, but I'll do it if I have to. It's not an intense fear. I just don't feel comfortable with it. Um, wow. I wanted to look at, let's see here. I like to go across the sea sometimes and look at some of the headlines as they look back towards this. Uh, on the foreign press, they've got an article up that at least two dead, multiple injured as sniper wielding gunmen ambush firefighters and police after blaze set as bait Black. There, we're back. Sorry. I'm going to call uh, my folks tomorrow. I've done all I can do. They've got to do better on the Wi-Fi. It's been all over the place recently. It goes from good to bad to everywhere in between. That's the first time we went out like that, so I apologize for that. This is a horrible story, though. The fire is coming from high-powered rifles, and can you imagine being trapped on the mountain and you're hearing about all this? And there's not but so many ways off a mountain, and you don't know where these guys are. They set the blaze and waited. Began firing as they arrived on the scene at around 2 p.m. They do mention it could be as up to 4. The sheriff then gave the police the authority to shoot to kill if they were given the opportunity. They worry about civilians who may be stuck on Canfield Mountain. I'm hoping someone has a clear shot. They're not showing any signs of wanting to surrender, he said of the shooters, adding that it's going to be a tough couple of hours as the fire continues to burn. And, of course, you got to stop the fire. Like I said, you're just trying to do your dang job. Some nut or nuts is taking you out. Crazy. Another firefighter remained in surgery. In radio traffic posted online, one firefighter could be heard screaming, "Send law enforcement right now. There's an active shooter zone. Everybody's shot up here," the firefighter reported, noting that 2 battalion chiefs were down. He can later be heard warning his fellow firefighters, "Stop. Do not come up here." Wow. Unbelievable. It's very dry in that area right now, they say, so the fire is of a concern too, because they had cleared the underbrush, but where they're going to be, it's going to be pretty thick and it's very, very dry. We haven't had a lot of rain here. So there goes a lot of places the suspects could be hiding out. If you went away from town, these logging roads go 30 to 50 miles. You'll hit another town, so a big area to search. Well, hopefully they take them out forthwith. That's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Like I said, just trying to do your dang job. Can you imagine going, you go down you're cooking at the local restaurant. You're just doing your dang job. Some nut comes in, starts firing up the place. You're just doing your job. That's absolutely horrible. You wouldn't think, and you just never know where it's going to happen. I mean, why there? Because, and then you got the risk of fire taking out a lot, property, killing people as it burns. Very dry. That could be as deadly as more deadly than the gunfire, to be honest. That's horrible. That's horrible. I hate that. Firemen having to worry about heat, flames, chemicals, explosions, gunfire. You don't think about that. I know they train for it. I mean, it's part of their training. You do your training, but be ready for all those things. But you honestly, you just don't think it's ever going to happen. Um, and I guess in some ways we could say if it's not an anti-government group, that's one good thing. But still, people are down, and whatever they are, I mean, they're killing people. So we'll see. And then you have the ongoing, uh, we have the ongoing issues around the world, the Middle East. We still got Iran. They say they're making threats. I don't know if they can follow up on them. Orders for calls for a ceasefire are growing in Gaza. It's an ugly, ugly, ugly situation. A lot of death today there. I mean, they've got to do something with Gaza. I mean, it's no matter where you fall on that, these people are starving. They got nowhere to go. There were 72 that died today. I mean, just the ongoing fight. I know they took out the latest Hamas leader, who they said were planning bad attacks. They've got to do something with this. I mean, it's just ugly. I mean, you can't just keep going with the same old, same old. Now you're too deep in now. I mean, you got to do something. You have to. Broski Bear. Trump said either go all in with force and finish it in Gaza or come to a peace agreement now. I agree. You got to do something. I got a feeling Gaza's going to become a glass desert soon. Well, it's a weird. Sometimes I really get Trump. I do. I try to give him a lot of space because he does have the ability to bring home sometimes things that I think look like it's not going to work out. But it's wading into this thing is not good. And what shocks me even more is his defense of, I get it, ally, maybe he connects with him, but he's calling for the charges to be dropped in Israel against Bibi Netanyahu. Why get involved in that? Leave it alone, man. I mean, you got your court battles too. I get it. Maybe it's because y'all both been attacked through the legal system. I get it. But leave it alone. This thing is ugly. Get the heck out. America first, baby. I mean, it's just a horrible scene. You can't come to an agreement with them. And that you can't. I mean, they'll use it as a rally cry for war and attacks and everything. And I understand that too. Well, they've rescued a few off that number that was a little over 50, but it was a very few. And I think some of those were bodies. The one guy, they got him out, but there's still at least 20 to 25 believed to be alive, which is amazing to me. Where are they hiding these people? I mean, most of Gaza is a parking lot, a demolition zone. I guess they still have underground access that nobody knows about. Probably, I'm just assuming. But where have they taken these people? Where could they be holding them? And how could they even feed them? They're having trouble feeding themselves. I don't think that they could have got across the border into Lebanon, but who knows? They certainly didn't get to West Bank. They're in Gaza, and they'll probably end up killing them. I mean, if you're going down, you're going to kill everybody. You're going to kill all the hostages. And that's the problem. They want Israel to stop, but they have hostages. I agree. Absolutely. Spartan, who comes in, he was in the last show. I get his anger. He has a hatred for Israel. I get it. But why do you hold on to them? I would release them and appeal to the world. You can make yourself look really good here. You can make yourself look even because they want you to be the victim. 100% they do. The world wants that. They hate Israel. Well, most of the world does. A lot of the world does. Not all of it, but a lot of it. Especially the Arab nations. You can make yourself look really good. Like, hey, we gave up the hostages. Should have never done it. We got okay. Now we want peace. Just bring on the food. Stop the killing. Let's get the ceasefire going on. Amen to that, brother. That's what I've been worried about. It's like what he's talking about real estate ventures over there. I get it. Maybe you want another Trump Tower, Gaza style, but get the heck out. Wait, because it's never going to really happen that way because they can't. It's just not going to work. Gaza's always been worse than the West Bank, and the West Bank has problems. It's always been worse than Gaza. What a mess. I mean, Hamas, come in and stormed and took out the PA. Some of them died. And it's been brutal ever since. It wasn't perfect under the PA, by no means, but it wasn't like this. I mean, Hamas is they're just terrorists. The PA was terrorists, had terrorists certainly, but they were out for money. They're always doing wrong things, but they sure like them some money. Hamas don't care. They just want to keep killing. These people are suffering. I mean, got to do something. They're talking about evacuating northern Gaza. I don't know. But you're right. I'm glad we don't have troops on the ground. It said the Israeli military dropped leaflets in eastern Gaza City ordering civilians to move south. The leaflets are often followed by intense and repeated attacks. So we'll see. They're still running, trying to find those folks. So I don't know. It is a very ugly scene, and I don't know what's going to happen out of it. I mean, what can you do? Whatever you try to do is going to be condemned, and there's no clear answers. President Trump gets tough with Canada again. I'm still waiting to hear about Greenland. Oh my goodness. I like looking around sometimes the international press, just seeing what they key on with America. It's just interesting. Some of them are totally almost ignoring. Oh my goodness. Iran says they vow nuclear enrichment will never stop. Of course they're going to say that. Trump says a $30 billion Iran deal report a hoax. Some sites are saying 72. Some are saying 71. Israel attacked Tehran's notorious Evin prison. So ongoing bombing runs there too. That's a whole nother one too. I mean, how much more you got to bomb? I mean, at some point, and I know the president has told them to back off, but they're not listening. And at some point, it's just what is your end goal here? Is it regime change? Is it to get the Ayatollah out? And if they do that, what will happen then? I just think it's getting uglier. And the president is frustrated. Obviously, we saw his comments to the press, which he called a flack for. But yeah, just ongoing bombing runs. I know they got a plan, I'm sure, but what's the end game? I always like to know what is your mission goal? Israel claims it has killed around 30 Iranian commanders and 11 nuclear scientists, while hitting 8 nuclear-related facilities and more than 720 military infrastructure sites. More than 1,000 people have been killed, including at least 417 civilians, according to Washington-based human rights activist group. Now, whether that's accurate or not, that's what they're reporting. In retaliation, Iran has fired more than 550 ballistic missiles at Israel, most of which were intercepted, but those that got through caused damage in many areas and have killed 28 people. So, very different, I know. And they destroyed the Weizmann Institute, a very world-renowned science institute, research area. So when they do get through, the damage is massive. And it's just not good for America. It's not. And so he's got to get some kind of clarity there. Just like Russia, Ukraine, not good for America. But I don't want us involved. But here we are, 4 years there, in the 4th year there. And this attacks have went on for a couple of weeks now, including our bombing run. And where do we go from here? I don't know. But it seems like the world is getting heating up, and the Chinese can't be far behind of itching to get in the game, as they say. So we don't know. But have a great night. We'll be on in the morning, so I can't stay on too late. I enjoy talking to you, but we'll be on in the morning, really early in the morning for the Cornbread Man Morning Show, audio only. And me and Rob together, first time in a few days. I haven't even heard from him. I sent him a couple of notes. He's been busy, I guess. I haven't heard from him. We'll see him in the morning. We usually talk just a little bit right before the show. So join us in the morning, 6 a.m. till 7. Tomorrow night, Mama said. And we'll see what else. And then Tuesday morning, I'll probably do a morning show, but then I have to go. I love you, broski. I'll remember that. Good night, Miss Beverly. God bless you. Thanks for being here. I know you're praying for the nation. Pray for us. Pray for us. We have prayer needs this week, and we need prayer. I love that line. We'll have to drop that on in the middle of a discussion. When he says, well, I had a busy weekend, so well, I know watching those WNBA highlights are tough. Oh, timing. Timing is everything. Oh, man. The whole week of shows lined up. Got a lot going on. It's going to be a busy 2 weeks, I can tell you. These next 2 weeks are really long. Well, really 3 weeks. July is going to be very busy. We're getting closer. Friday, celebration. Be careful with your fireworks. Enjoy your family time together. I have a member of my church. He's a nurse. Of course, every 4th of July, there's always people come in with blown fingers. The fingers been blown off. Damage to the eyes and everything. Burnt hair. Be careful with the fireworks. Be careful. After all, who makes a lot of those fireworks? Maybe a little bit. Dumb American. This fuse will burn fast. Big explosion. Take out someone. Lord have mercy. I like watching it. But they can be very deadly and dangerous. They don't always do what the package says they're supposed to do. And that's a problem. Have a great night. God bless you all. Dave with the Southern Fried. Looking forward to a good week. This has been a good kickoff day, and we hope for good things this week. We've got some things to go through early in the week, and we hope all that works well. We do. Pray for us. We appreciate it. Take care.